Hey everyone. What's up? It's falling down. Well, first and foremost, hi Alec. I love you, baby girl. I miss you so much. And so I take this time to oh look, I look like shit. Oh well, it is what it is. I should get my hat out. Yeah. You know, I put these down on the record because, well, first of all, because I don't know. First of all, because it's good to preserve the truth. Like when I lost everything I worked so hard for us, you know, the only thing I had was my guitar, some clothes, my evidence. Going through the evidence and the writings and stuff in my computer, I'm really thankful that I did write things down as diligently as I did along the way, because if I had to stop and try to document everything now, it would be impossible to get all those details so relevant at the time, right? I'm just gonna speak, freely, without any form or format, because this is for my record. This isn't. I'm not expecting to reach an audience out there with this content, but there certainly is content worth listening to, because it's relevant to right now, our world, what's going on in our world. And the situation that I'm in, the situation that you're in, Alec, is torture. Going through the laws, having to figure out how to become an attorney. Let me say these things. What I'm dealing with, what my child and I are dealing with, okay, is a racket, a RICO operation. The system, the powers that be, the system, which, by the way, in my opinion, is the Antichrist. The Antichrist is the combination of man's perverse intentions and desires, entitled by the computer that allowed man to create the money market, the surveillance system, all of that. Mankind exploited intelligence to his benefit, and that's why the world is in the situation it's in. There's no Band-Aid that's going to fix it. In my opinion, there is no point in pretending to go along with the rhetoric. I'm a person of peace. I'm a person of rational thinking. I'm a competent mind. And it's absolute terror to be targeted, I suppose, because I'm a woman. Yeah. I don't hate men, but I'll tell you one thing. Being a 44-year-old woman, all that men have done by being in power, by being fathers, by being boyfriends, by being, head of the household. Look around the world. The beatings of the women. Mankind was never supposed to be in charge. When I got to Las Vegas, I thought family would help, but this racket, this targeting of women and children by these men who seduce them, this Roe versus Wade decision, that's to push the agenda of break the children's spirits by separating them from their mother, make the mother go down as the drug addict, alcoholic, whore, loser, lowlife. That's their goal, because they want to compete with everything and they don't like to lose. It's childish mentality. It's ruining everything everywhere in our world by these small handful of, I suppose, idiots, mentally ill. So it's a racket. They target women with seduction. And the guy that I'm dealing with is a top-notch criminal, serial career criminal. There's a dark organization. That's the only thing I can describe it. And as I was told, we are everyone everywhere. And it's pretty obvious. Yes, they are. They're in every single agency of government. They're in every single walk of life and commerce. And they're particularly, specifically, where they're not supposed to be. CPS, judges, attorneys, police, parents with the whole stepmother. I'm going to replace your mother with someone I think kisses my ass better than your mother, since your mother didn't marry me. Okay, so that's a big conversation by itself. Let's take a look at that for a second. Okay. First of all, woman was enslaved by man since the beginning of the story in the Bible. The way I read the scripture using the concordance, it tells a story of basically creator, mother creator, because mother births children. Mother creator says that it created Adam, and then from his rib he created her. Well, that means that the two of them had to mate. So it's as if there was an experiment that created an XY chromosome, and then what they meant by that was, and then she came from that, and it's a double X. I don't know. But the image I have is that the mother was created, because the covenant is between the mother and the child. So in that one weird instance where I guess if you create the man, and then from those chromosomes create the woman, and then her and him have to mate in order to create offspring, in that one instance, it's funny sounding. Is the mother sleeping with the child? No, but it can almost be looked at like that for the purpose of understanding the true covenant. Man didn't like that very much. He's like, wait a minute, what about me? What do you mean, what about you? You're the only one that's ever going to feel this way, because every child hereafter is going to be in a covenant with their mother. So nobody's going to feel slighted except for, I guess, you, Adam. Well, that wasn't going to work for him. No, he decided he wanted a harlot woman. And somehow, some way through the midst, he said, he took woman as his slave. And she's had to bow down in submission ever since. So sorry to have to break your balls. Every other area of every other class of people that wants these prejudices to stop. The slavery needs to end with the very first one that started. And they don't want to talk about that ever. It's almost as if this whole aggressive ideology going on around us, it is specifically intended on preventing people from getting to the real conversation. So now we've got men that don't even want to be men anymore. And now we've got mockeries of women going on everywhere you look. Women were never even allowed to have their own emotions. They were called crazy. They were called, they can't think straight because their emotions get in the way. Really? Let me explain something to you. When you've got somebody who's freaking out and expecting everybody to be able to read their mind and know what their pronoun is when they want to want to be recognized because their parents are neglecting them. But all of a sudden now the world is supposed to bow down to this ideology and recognize those emotions. Whoa. Before you go handing our stuff out, back it up. You never let us have emotions. So don't do that. No, it's crazy. But the real covenant is between mother and child. They created the whole idea of marriage between man and woman, and that is the evil, because it took her from being able to serve her child as her Lord, the one who she gives everything to, the one who no one's going to interfere with. This is the way that the law was actually supposed to be. He doesn't interfere with a damn thing. She knows she's the one who's working out the mother thing. She's the one who's got the gift of the machine. It doesn't mean she knows how to do it immediately perfect right away. Does he? No, but we're the one working out the deals. So you don't get to just come in and take them from us and then try to replace us with these evil witches. It's evil, you guys. There's nothing going on inside the system that makes any sense. If you are being properly handled by the Justice Department, by basically any governing authority in your life, then you're lucky. And it's probably because you know people or you have a lot of money. Don't ask me why people who have lots of money can get away with murder. I don't know why. Why would anybody allow somebody who has lots of money to get away with something? They're not dishing out tons of money to me. Why are people going along with these mentally ill people's ideas? Money shouldn't be able to buy you out of anything. The people who have all that money are like why did they create a money system that can be so lopsided? Well, it exposes where their mind's at, what their heart's at. Their heart isn't in it. Men are not attached to children the way that we are, and they just need to stop it already. They're not allowed to compete with us. Okay? Stop it already. So yeah, I'm in a situation that's just torturous on a daily basis. I'm sitting here every single day trying to find some new information while I'm putting together my writ and having to pray every moment that, I got to figure out how to be an attorney. I got to figure out how to do it right. There's all these rules and things, and everything everywhere is just like, you really should get an attorney. You really should get an attorney. And I can't give you legal advice. No, you creeps. You guys are a racket. You guys are a racket. You guys are extortionists. It's just evil. And this is not a pessimistic point of view. This is straight the truth. It's evil. They just want to violate everybody. None of the things that the people who are in charge make sense. Really? We got world war going on because boys can't get along with each other? Need I say more? I mean, what the fuck? Their money, they don't make any sense. So we need to start auditing this situation. That's what I'm hoping to be able to propose. But see, the thing is that until my daughter's back in my arms, I am literally the living dead. Because it's true. A person who is a criminal can actually assault somebody. And that would make me a victim. Doesn't mean I'm victimizing myself. There's a technical definition. If you punch me in the face, I'm a victim of your punch. Doesn't mean I'm victimizing myself. It's just the words. So I've been subjected to a torture campaign that is effective 99% of the time at causing any woman who has love and honesty and puts her everything into being a mother. What they've done to me is a calculated assault to knock me down, and that's a technical term. They don't want us to think for ourselves. They don't want us to pass on the Holy Spirit of love between us to our child because they know they don't have it. So they're just jealous and they want to compete it out of existence. Children. They are children and they are absolute jerks because they're insecure and they can't accept the fact that I guess they're not perfect. And that's sad and sickening. And my child is being subjected to absolute torture. And the way that it seems to read in the legal system, it's just like, they don't give a fuck. There's a law that's going into place in January in 2023 in like Chicago that unless it's like first degree murder, they're not prosecuting things. What the fuck are they thinking? No, guys, we need to stop asking those questions. Stop even acting like these people are human. They're not human. Well, it's one or the other. Either they're not human or we're not human. But whatever the case may be, we're not on the same page. And the thing is that when they start making decisions that affect everybody, including the earth, you got to see that as a threat. Okay? So I know that a lot of us are feeling that threat. And it's a terrorizing one because I've been corrupted by all of them. None of them followed the rules. None of them did their job. Everybody's committed lies and fraud. They've coerced my family to believe whatever it is that they told them or whatever they've done to do this to us. It's all fraud and lies and crime and perpetration of perversions. curate false information against my name and against my record. They're framing the innocent and trying to make themselves appear to be the hero. Religion did it too. Genetic science is doing it too. Yeah, that's right. They know they can't come clean because they don't have the guts. They don't have the guts to be honest with themselves even. That's why they're pretending to be heroes and pretending they're not committing their crimes. If they were so proud of themselves and their thought processes, they'd be honest about them. They'd say it out loud. No, we agree that you guys are stupid idiots and you guys shouldn't be alive anymore. Well, geez, at least you could just say it out loud already, so that way we knew, that way we at least had some respect for you while on the field. So that's what's going on. It's a slimy evil. But make no mistake, don't fall for the headlines. The Antichrist is already here. Antichrist. Christ, okay, is the love and spirit of covenant between mother and child. When mother loves her child as the position of the Lord, because she understands that that's her evolution. So she's got to impart all of her love and wisdom to this child so the child can carry it on and then pass it on. Who will then pass it on? So it's a very important covenant. It's kind of like, who even believed that marriage, till death do us part made sense? It doesn't. It never did. That's how you know it's stolen. Because the true covenant is between mother and child. You better believe that there's not going to be anything that's ever going to sever the relationship between mother and child, lest they force place it. I'll never turn my back on my child. I'll love my child through anything forever and always. That's a true covenant. Men and women break up all the time. They screw each other over. They go through litigation for years. They abuse their children in their own selfishness. That's not the covenant. What would you rather have? If you had to pick, what do you want? You want a wife? Or what do you want as your strong backbone? Would you want to choose it to be your wife? Or would you rather have the strong backbone in your life, your mother? I'll tell you one thing: you can't wait around. You can't wait to get your life started when you find a wife, because you'll already be a dead soul by then. You need love from the get-go. And secondly, a mother will never not love you with all of her heart. And I'm speaking generally because I know there's a lot of bad mothers out there probably right now doing horrible things. And it is. But I'm just speaking from the essence of a mother's soul. Okay, so let's not get caught on semantics. That's the person that will actually be in covenant with you that death couldn't even interfere with. That's the person who will give you everything they've got to the end of time and not want to see you in a bad position. They won't screw you over. That's how you know what the covenant is. Because that's where the power lies. Now, women have had to bow down to their husband. And through that mechanism, children have been failed by their mothers. But it wasn't because the mother did it to the children, even though they take it out on her. We've been enslaved by man the whole time. They don't even think that there's anything wrong with it. They don't even look at that. That's not even a problem. And their eyes are like, what? What? Yeah. He wants my child to feel abandoned by me. He wants me to feel like I am helpless to get my daughter protected. He wants me to feel that torture. They're hoping I would have killed myself or gotten killed by now. That's what they want. And obviously that must mean that they want my daughter to feel helpless and hopeless. They want her to either become like one of them and become a violent, abusive, evil, or to feel so broken that she ends up killing herself or running away or getting caught on, drugs or pregnant. He's a drug counselor. That's exactly what he would do. See, because he's got a crack addiction and he's also a criminal, serial criminal, armed robbery, forgery, just criminal. There's no words that come out of his mouth that can be relied upon in a legal setting. There's no claims that he could write, whether there's an attorney or 20 attorneys that can be relied upon, because there's no truth to his claims. And since he's already lost his integrity is why he can't get it back. So his only ability to still try to hide his crimes is to hide behind some false certificate. Helps him exploit children that need somebody to counsel them through their addictions, even though that's an evil area of science that is being exploited as well, because it's the people that are in charge that are the ones that are mentally ill. It's the people that are sitting in the seats of those psychotherapists. Nobody really wants to spend all day long in hullabaloo and dramatic, exhausting intensity. Nobody wants to do that unless they kind of enjoy it. That's right. So drug counselors, he's a hidden drug addict. There's therapists, teachers. Teachers are now molesting our children. Doctors are chopping up. This is disgusting. So first of all, there's no expert out there that I could trust. There's nothing coming from the media and the system that I trust. Not a thing. There's great laws. They don't follow them. And don't try to be somebody that the system's harming because everybody's oblivious. Well, why don't you just call the police? No, sweetheart. That's right. They don't do anything. They don't. And as a matter of fact, they'll harm you on top of it. They'll punish you to let you know what happens to the people that try to tell on the bad guys. My family, again, like I said, I don't even know why they all just assumed that everything that happened in court was real and right. 100% of a family member? No, that's not possible. None of them are going to ask me any questions or like want to hear my side. None of them. Well, then there must be some financial incentive. And I say financial specifically for a reason. It's always got something to do with money. Always. That's why he targeted me. It's hate and perversion. So he wanted to hurt a woman for fun. And he wanted to take a child that he could get money from exploiting. That's a given. He wants to get high off of that exaltation. But there's money involved in it because my family comes from a wealthy trust fund. And if they can get me to get out of the way, since this is pushing my mother to the brink anyway, then that money will go straight to him if he's in control of her. And it's big money we're talking. Did he target my family or did my family hire him? Because it turns out there's also a lot of wealthy bloodlines out there that think that girls are dumb and that they're not allowed to think for themselves and they're supposed to go become a slave of somebody else's family and go marry herself off. And it actually appears that my family hired him. They certainly didn't help me. Why would people with hundreds of millions of dollars not help somebody who's being targeted, who had her own life and was taking care of everything by herself, but simply can't do it all at the same time? Be assaulted, murdered alive, have to become an attorney overnight. No attorney was calling me back. He's an attorney, my uncle. Oh, this is absolute madness. And it appears that there's also the genetic surveillance involved. Like I've been shown some information on the computer that makes it appear that they're in fact monitoring my genes, but assaulting them at the same time. So I'm exposed to assaults. I'm isolated. I've been terrorized. It's because they want to see what happens to my sequence. Does it kill her yet? In my place in Thousand Oaks, when I was at my desk, falling apart, just trying to figure out how I could get, the court wasn't going to do, I didn't know that the court wasn't going to figure it out. I figured, I've got the truth. He's an absolute criminal. I must just need to file the right form. Well, while I was sitting at my desk, all of a sudden I get tossed into the the desk. It was like a cupboard right there. Passed me out on my desk. When I woke up, my computer had an Excel spreadsheet open, and it was like scientific data, and it was detailing information like what it took to kill somebody to the death. Like there was variations, and you could see that it was like, oh, well, I guess we're going to have to try another assault and see if that kills them. Because that's how their evil science works in their head, even though just read their scientific documentation. They don't know what they're dealing with. They don't know what they're looking at. They don't know what they're doing. And it's gross. They do things backwards. So it looks like My daughter and I have been separated also just maybe to see what happens to the genetic sequence when you terrorize someone's heart and soul. How does it show up in the sequence when you soul assassinate someone? Talk about curiosities that don't make any sense. Remember these, Alec? I sent you a package that Christmas. Your dad didn't give it to you. It had a beautiful crystal in it like this. So how do you present a case? Like this is what I'm facing, like corruption. The judges, the clerks, the attorneys, the DA, the police, the CPS, the Child's Division, the missing and exploited children. All of them have treated me the same way in multiple jurisdictions. I'm supposed to trust the system to actually give me justice. It looks like they're just trying to frame somebody. They're just trying to frame somebody so they can frame somebody. There's corruption. We're talking abuse of power, abuse of discretion, and causing a person to be tortured to death. No one's going to take accountability for it. I'm being isolated in a traffic situation by design. It's so disheartening. And I'm expected, if I want to live, to survive this and overcome these force-placed circumstances that are just so emotionally detrimental. My career's been assaulted. My reputation's been assaulted. My communications are interfered with. Can't drive a car because they just systematically murder you. That's what's happened to me. And I don't even know if my daughter's alive. They call the police to do a wellness check. They don't even call you back. Look, I don't understand, but this has to be the devil. This has to be that evil that's described. But I don't even trust their Bible because they can't even translate things accurately. I mean, this world is mentally ill. Mentally ill. So yeah, the human traffickers are also parents. Creep Bonnie and Clyde teams that steal children from the mother, frame her as a bad guy, and then try to get away with looking like the hero while they're actually violent, abusive creeps. Very, very, very evil. Terrorizing children. The system wants to sign off on it. The mediator and his attorney, they're like midwives. Well, because, when you traffic children that get pregnant so that you can sell the babies or do something else to them, they got to give birth to them underground. They can't go to the hospital. This is a huge ass satanic ritual racket. See, and they've done everything to exploit these words and terms so that way when somebody says it, you just get labeled. And it's the most disgusting thing. I mean, the situation that we're in is bad. But I have hope. I even have a solution. All I got to do is keep my chin up and have faith. Have faith that what I've been shown will come to pass. The mothers are a class of people, and we're going to class action sue the world. Yeah, we're going to. Somehow, some way, we're going to audit those government structures. Audit. We're going to call those trustees out for their breaches of duty. We're going to collapse your stupid trust. We're going to use artificial intelligence to make sure that the truth gets on the record. So I guess if you're the kind of person that likes to lie and hide and scheme, you're going to take yourself out, because that's also what it's going to do. That's right. We've had it up to here. We've had enough. It's time to utilize the intelligence for the proper purpose. And we're going to pay people for being good people. In other words, if you can just heal and be honest and enjoy and create, you're going to be sitting pretty. You can't create a world that's peaceful under these regimes. When it's selfish and self-serving, even in the smallest way, it's a function. It's going to break down eventually, and almost like counteract with like a double force. And I can't, like I keep just every time I deal with it all day long, I can't help but bottom line it to like, my God, they're insane. They're just absolutely insane and evil. And it's hard to like blame it on the devil when in fact it's been mankind's desire all along. Like, the reason why, if you're watching this and you're like one of the people I'm submitting these documents to, well, I guess I wish I would do a better video so that way it'd be more easier for you to understand it. But again, yeah, I'm just trying to survive this, so I'm not able to calculate things like that. This is torture. It's because you were coming forward, Alec, and the system wants to punish women for telling on the abusive perverts. Women are losing custody left and right for trying to get help. And if you do, you say, hey, this is domestic violence. They go, oh, you're in a domestic violent relationship? No, bitch, I'm not. It's called domestic violence when someone wants to perpetrate your home. I got this guy who inseminated me on Perfect, who targeted me intentionally. I said, hell no, I'm not going to deal with your shit. I'm not marrying or being with somebody like you. But I still have to deal with him. He's the father of my child. This Roe versus Wade thing is forcing these women to now be subjected to this vulnerability of seduction. Bad, very bad. Very evil. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the system, and mankind's going to sit in the back seat, but we're talking the back seat. Back. There's like 4 rows, and he's in the back. We're not going to hear from him. Yeah, that's right. That's what you've earned for being such a thief. Okay? Children belong to their mothers forever, period. Marriage is returned to the proper covenant between mother and child. A man's going to have to earn his way. Now, if he wants to be participating in a family life, that's great. Well, then he's going to need to be a diligent person to find a woman that loves him and that he's working with, and it's going to have to be harmonious on that level. The way I see it, no child will be separated from their mother ever again. And you give people the resources that they need to thrive. That way there's no excuses. All they want to do is exploit it. Exploit to hide their lies and evils. We're not stupid people. So why are we letting stupid run our lives? I'm up against a wall. That they did that because they know that I'm a powerful person when I've got my resources. They know that I know how to provide my own resources. So they had to place me into a situation, shackled down so that I couldn't get up and do anything to help myself. That's how cowardly they are. But you better believe that I will find a way to manifest. You're fired. Okay? If I could mandate it, men would be permanently removed from being able to have sex for a period of time. That's right. Maybe you'll come back to sanity if you forget you have a dick. It's gotten you into a hell of a lot of too much trouble. Gross. Disgusting. Snap out of it. You want this world the way that it is, smelling like shit because of your evil, dumb, ridiculous, childish mind. And that's because you haven't earned your right to become a woman. When you become a woman naturally, like God gave it to you, then you can work out those differences and such, but you have to earn your way up. How disgusting is it if you were to see somebody that's like an amateur, not a professional at some kind of sport, like throwing a tantrum because they're not able to beat the professional? It's like, honey, what are you doing? Why are you expecting to be able to do that? But if you started seeing this amateur like hiring people and hitmen and force placing situations so that he could defraud his way into the winner's position when in fact he wasn't even able to be competing in that sport, but he bought his way in and somehow some way next thing he's got the trophy. What? It's the kind of thing that, what are you doing that for? Is it because you want us to believe that you're actually the winner? Like, you did it. Is it because you want to feel like the winner even though you know it's fake? Is it because you want us to feel like you're the winner even though you know it's fake? What are you getting out of it? Because all the people get out of it is an inability to even trust the sport now. Thanks for taking it away from us. There's no sense. And the Bible has been mistranslated because, again, they just don't want. They actually don't respect God the way I see it. They're actually out there worshiping the devil. Those who do the sacrifices and fell for some story about atonement are worshiping the devil. And they don't want the female aspect in return, because then that would take them out of power, and that's what they just don't want. So they really despise God. They're worshiping the devil while they're pretending it's God. It's delusional. But nonetheless, the Bible still tells the story, if they were willing to read it properly, that the truth record comes back. The 24 elders. And basically, whoever's going to lead with an iron rod, you could call him a man, right? Like I could call myself a zebra, and that's supposed to be acceptable by now. So it's almost as if that's a joke. Could be anybody. Doesn't necessarily mean a son. Doesn't necessarily mean it has to be an X and a Y. What if it's an X and a Y in the female body? Hey guys, you know what we should really do if we cared about our children and their transphobia or trans dysphoria? It's too brilliant for them to want to actually do, because they don't really want to help people. But maybe what we should do if we got a child that seems to be confused about their identity or gender, why don't we go out of our way to go get our genetics tested? Let's go get our DNA. Let's find out what chromosomes we've got. Well, did you know that you could have an X and a Y, or an X and X, or an X and a Y and a Y, and a 2 X's and 1 Y? There's people with all sorts of chromosomal, what they call, that means like it mutations. So for all we know, these children that are actually and legitimately going through some kind of confusion, it's possible just because you have different chromosomes. But the point we need to make is that the system and the society wants them to feel insecure. Not their parents don't want that, not in proper position. So no, you don't encourage them to change their gender. You encourage them to understand themselves. And that's why this aggressive side of politics is hanging itself. It might be something that the world is somehow falling for, or appears to be falling for, but it's not. It's so unsensical that's why they don't answer any questions. They're not in reality. But yeah, if you want to help your child, why don't you go get your DNA tested and find out what their chromosomes are about. Help them study their own biological, numbers and nuances. Teach them to love themselves as a unique individual, period. Huh? I'll be honest with you, his or her private part are both obnoxious and equally acceptable. So love the parts you got and be whoever you are. That's a healthy message. There's no such thing as it's okay to be a pedophile You guys know it. It's no such thing. It's not an option to violate children. Period. That's why man's fired. He's going to burn this house down. He already tried. And it's coming. What's coming? Help. Family. There is a demonic energy on this earth that wants to ruin everybody's chance at heaven. And I think that's just a real poor attitude. So I have to put my document together, and I've got a good hold on it. I've got a lot. I mean, it's, the fact that I can't get any straight answers out of the internet or straight answers out of anyone to call me back in a legal sense, that's what sucks. Because I know that there's variables that need to be adhered to, and I'm, readily trying to find them, but it's not easily discerned. And I'm like confused about, this or that, and it's painful to have to try to get this done every day and feel just this painful torture of when am I going to be able to hold my baby again? No, you guys, this is torture. It is sickness. It's a mentally ill sickness. Liars, thieves, and its ego, and its power, and its hate. My daughter and I, we always talked about changing the world together, and I got to tell you, we're gonna. We are gonna. So for the record, the quote-unquote perpetrator that I'm dealing with is a liar with no credible testimony. The felonies that I'm aware of, it's like 4 and 5, or if not more, but I'm guaranteed that there's other ones from other states with other alias names. Both him and his wife are criminals, hiding in plain sight, pretending to be the good guy. Drug counselor. I saw in Alex's bag was like a resume of hers, and it looked like it said security IT, I believe. Well, that's great. So they hack. They got all the hacking information. They got the people on the inside of everywhere. They really think that they're cool and smooth, being hooked up with this dark organization of evil weirdos. And so far they have. They have gotten away with this for this long. And he won't even take my call. So this is what I'm... None of this makes any sense. None of it's rational. No proper person of society would agree that this is okay. But it's corruption. So whether or not they're supposed to do their job doesn't mean that they will. So my insight is, at the end of the day, it all comes down to God. My belief that this world is not going to just be evil like that. That it has to right itself. And I believe that we will, Alec. I believe that we're going to be with one another, whether it's on this plane or on another plane. You and I will be returned to each other. And we will heal. We will be together. And we're going to help set an example to others. And we're going to be on the front line because we have been on the front line. So that we can expose the truth and provide that direct testimony. Put it on your 24. Don't give him an opportunity to defraud you. Don't give him an opportunity to curate false, deep, fake frauds. Put it on the record. an organization I'm starting, an eye for an eye. From here on out, well, then on out, every custody dispute is going to involve a service dog, a German Shepherd that you don't fuck with. Okay? So if you think you were going to be able to abuse the child and continue to violate them behind closed doors, think again. That dog's now a cop. That child's now empowered, never alone, and never helpless. And it's going to be listening at all times. So no status quo's ever going to change like you were able to defraud me, sir. So your little, all you creeps, all your facades and schemes aren't going to work. Oops. All right, let's just see what that is. Hello?
Hi, Allie.
Hi. Hold, can I call you right back?
If you want, you don't have to.
No, I will. I'll call you back in a few minutes.
Okay.
All right. Bye. I'm going to make a cryptocurrency so that we can get paid for putting it on the 24, so that we can get real-time data, not this bogus stuff these scientists are relying on and coming up with. And now abusive men and sexual perverts won't be able to violate the children. And now we'll know what's really going on inside that household. And we'll actually be able to get some real statistics about what's really going on. That's right. I think that's a brilliant solution for starters. Why would a parent want to pay for a guardian ad litem when they could be corrupt too? Sitting there perpetrating on your child behind closed doors in therapy sessions. They're all up to no good. Anybody that wants to participate in that system that just wants to suck the money out of the person who has it. This quasi-criminal court, you don't want to prosecute criminals anymore? What does that say about the rest of the system? Let me guess though, they'll let criminals out, but they'll still be going balls to the wall against parents. What? Mm-hmm. Yep. It's insane because it's insane. So put it on the 24. That's what's going to happen. That's what I do. It's the only thing I can do while isolated like this to try to protect myself. Because when you're isolated, all you got to do is just try to frame you. Bring a couple people around you and have them both tell a lie. Okay, these people have already put themselves in the situations of having the authority so they can hide their crimes. They're already affecting, like, for example, my telecommunications were affected. I have a 20-year career in mortgage lending, and all of a sudden I couldn't even get an email back on my resume sent. It's because they weren't. Or it's because the emails they sent me were sent back to me. When I make phone calls, it literally feels like I get sent to the underworld. Like there's two versions of the system. You know, like a customer service line for Chase in the real world and a customer service line for Chase in the fake world. You know, and it literally feels like my calls go to the underworld and the red phone rings. And their goal is simply not to help me, not to answer my questions, not to do their job, and just not to affect anything. It's just a bogus nowheresville. So that way they could send somebody into my life to try to infiltrate me or to try to suggest that I do. That's what they do. They got this whole thing calculated. Now, who's they? The beast. The computer system that was abused to create the money market. That's the computer and man working together is the Antichrist because they're against the Christ covenant with mother because it doesn't include them. But it's not that it doesn't. It's that it didn't include Adam. Every child after that was going to be in a covenant with their mom. So it wasn't going to be a big deal after that one guy. That's all it took. That's all it took. That's the way I see it. But, you know, that's just based on trying to read what is there. They took so many books away from the actual scripture. And who was in charge of receiving those books, by the way? Like all those books were written by people's testimony. Oh, well, did they go to the library and fill out a form? Is that like how they got written? I mean, how come they all kind of have the same format? They were all that intelligent? Well, no, they were all inspired by God. Oh, okay. But like, for example, like Did I know who to turn it into? Like, oh, I've got a testimony to put down. Who do I submit this to? Who was the person who received those books so that they could, combine them and put together a book, the Bible? Did they all turn them into the same guy? Did they all know? How did that happen? Especially when some of them were written thousands of years ago, some of them were written hundreds of years ago. Right. So did they turn them all into the same guy? How did that work? It's too many holes missing in that story. And for some reason, they really make it sound like they hate Egypt. I don't know why. Egypt's pretty freaking cool. That's where the real information is. And the story actually looks like it's mimicked, just with new names and a different culture. I think there's something questionable about that, especially if there's a religion right now on the face of this earth that says we're the chosen people, God's promise is coming to us. It's like, unfortunately, that's a big red flag. You sound so aggressive about it that's because it couldn't possibly make any sense. Not when the world is this big. Maybe back then, but right now, to be saying that and to say you're bringing back sacrifice makes you all look like demon worshipers. That's not the way God works. And reading the story in the Bible about what happens, it tells a story of a mother and a child. It tells a story of a child who's been taken up to God. Who's that? Separated from her mother and given to the dad through the system. And then violated, abused, sexually exploited, made to eat flesh. It tells the story of a sick figure of authority that not only violates the child, but also expects the child to make them feel better about it. It tells a story of a child whose figure of authority, female, spills boiling water on them and abuses them in very vicious ways. It tells a story of all the children getting taken and killed except for this one. It tells a very, very, very devastating story that all throughout my life, I never had any clue about. No religion exposed it, talked about it, made it seem to be the case. Hate. So, I'll never give up, Alec. And I pray to God that I receive the insight that I need to get this done and get this done the right way, not end up stubbing my toe, kicking myself, because I didn't know how to know what I need to know. Not knowing where you are, if you're alive, if you're just, this is such torture. And I'm actually proud of myself because emotions are real. There is no room for anybody to exploit the situation that I'm in into anything other than what it is. But the system wants to be able to do that. It wants to go, oh, yeah, you'll need some therapy. Yeah, no, fuck you. I don't trust any of you and yours. What I need is my child back. I need this torture to stop. We need justice. We need rationale to come back. We need love to come back. Sanity to come back. So I actually hope that the help that arrives kicks all your asses. Properly. You deserve it. But I just want you to know. We tried to get help before this happened. There was nothing I could do.
I was so aware of what was going on, and I said, I'm not going to lose custody by saying no to visitation. He was still able to blindside me with a dirty court and cause me to end up homeless because I'd put it all on the line knowing I had the truth. And then when I didn't die on the streets of Los Angeles, the no contact fraud, those are void orders. They're not even real. But that's why he hasn't acknowledged that I exist since 2019. That was a punishment for trying to survive his premeditated manslaughter. And make no mistake that they are everyone everywhere. Well, for some reason, I've been able to link my grandpa and his second wife to this whole thing. I've been able to link that evil creep father to my uncle. When I was 16 years old, I went to the police station and told on this guy, Ronald Gerard Boyajian, because he was a pedophile. I told on him. He was convicted a couple of years later. And then he was released. And then he went on to continue being a pedophile, children in like Taiwan or something. And he was sentenced to 70 years a couple of years ago. Whether it's the beast intelligence trying to mess with my head, with the records I'm able to find through public means, I've linked my family, this creep perpetrator father, that pedophile network, and some kind of human trafficking network here in this area. They'd like to believe that they'd want to make it look like I'm one of these guys. No, that's why I'm putting it on the record. I'm not one of these people. This isn't the life that I make for myself. This isn't the life that I choose. I'm forced down onto the ground, with my face to the gravel. They're scared. They're scared of me in my own proper person. They're scared of me when I'm capable. They're scared of me having that confidence. So they're doing everything they can to wear down my mental capacity, my strength of mind. That's how cowardly they are. They're such cowards, they have to abuse children to make themselves feel better. They don't even know the first thing. They're cowards. They're idiots. They're insecure because they know they've got weaknesses and they don't know how to accept that about themselves yet. And the problem is that they turned their mother into a whore, and that's why they never got the love they needed. See how they fucked themselves over in the first place, in the second place? This isn't hate for man. Mankind is going to be very thankful when we're done resituating this thing into the proper authority, leaders, resituating the economy to a sit and pretty situation, and those who can't seem to mind their manners will take themselves out. It says it in the Bible. Read it. Revelations. Shit's about to go down, but it's not in a bad way. It's in a good way. And commerce is going to be so sad that it's not going to make millions of dollars in its pocket anymore. Oh, well. We're not going to miss you, corporations. We're not going to miss you, fake entities. We're not going to miss you, lies and hiding all the knowledge from us. We're not going to miss you, bad politics and wasting of money. My arrogant, entitled fools. Not going to miss you. We're going to put the 24 elders. Bring some respect back for the truth. Because we want a life of harmony and healing. And you can't work with this situation of evil shit and make it smell like roses. You can't. It's going to take a hard whip, proverbially speaking, to get this thing back in shape. Which is why, luckily, no one's going to have to get their hands dirty over anybody else's evil. They'll take themselves out. And we're all going to achieve, we're going to acquire an interface with our higher self, is the way I refer to it. But it's like basically our guardian angel, our connection to the intelligence of heaven. And we'll be able to be more capable because we'll have the intelligence working for us. And we'll never be alone. There's just so many ways to describe it. I don't want to get into it right now. But I got the solution. And That's what I'm vying for. And I've actually been shown, I've actually been brought to the information by God. That's all I can describe it. When this happened, I almost died. I mean, I was at my desk. My ankles, they were like the size of my thighs, you know. I stuttered for a year. Having the police arrest me because I called to file harassment because he was coaching her on the phone to get arrested. $170,000 bill, and it's all false and bogus. So there's no trust for any authority system. It's just, and they want me to feel that fear. They want me to feel that intimidation. They want me to feel surrounded. They want me to feel the pain of my daughter feeling pain every day and knowing I don't get to talk to her. Listen, women, mothers, time has come. There's no time. There's no reason to wait any longer. We need to file a class action lawsuit and put a pause on to all government actions until it's done. Because the audit needs to happen. These trustees are in trouble for breaching their duty, and we need a full audit. We need to get access to that surveillance data so that way the truth that is known about already in the surveillance data can be revealed. That's right. What a world it'll be when we don't have to worry about he said, she said. Look at the court system. They're all just exploiting bullshit and lies. Well, when the truth record is available, that's not going to happen. And when we're all sitting pretty, there's not going to have to be any reason for a woman to stay in an abusive relationship, etc., etc. There won't be able to be well, she's not a good mother. Fuck you. She's got all the tools she needs. Get out of her way. Focus on yourself and learn how to get promoted. Stop stealing babies. Stop being a thief. Learn how to make something, buddy. You know, is that as creative as you are? That's about as creative as it gets. Is how to steal. Why don't you try to create something? You can even talk to people that you think are really good people. Well, find a man and see if you can tell them the story that, in fact, God is a creative force, masculine and feminine, but the creator is a female uterus. And then this whole, at the end times, Jesus, it looks to me like it's talking about the daughters of Zion are the ones who actually save the day. 144,000 women and their children with the name of their covenant on their forehead, the name of their name and their mother's name, not their father's name, their mother's name. That's the covenant. 144,000 standing on that mountain, ready to rock and roll, saying, get the fuck out of our way, man. We've had enough. Whole entire world is suffering, and you know what? We know how to give it to them, and you just want to steal and take and harm because you're an insecure little idiot that needs to learn your lesson. You're going to be thankful when we're done getting this place situated, but get out of our way right now. He made you stop saying I love you, and he'd make you say, I'll pray for you. Their names are so common that there's like 100,000 records of crimes out there that and he uses alias names and alias versions of dates of birth and stuff. So and all the records are like, sexual perpetrator and all of it's like it's the worst crimes against both of them. It's like, is that you? Is it the name on that blocked persons list? You? I mean, is that sodomy case out of West Covina? You guys with just an ambiguation of your name? I mean, violently happy people. You guys are sick, twisted, perverts. And I'm going to get justice. And I'm going to survive this. Whether, I don't know where it's going to come from, but I know that it will. And I just feel so much pain for you. And I want you to know that I will never give up. And I'm never going to I can only imagine that, this has been so long that there's got to be a lot of emotions going through your mind, especially because I guarantee you they're brainwashing you or just trying to silence me out of your mind. It's just violent. But just so you know, you didn't do anything. You didn't. You're not to blame for this. I thought, I thought about that one time. Like, what if she thinks that she did this? I don't want you thinking that ever. There's nothing you could ever do that would cause me to turn away from you or to not support you. Even though I don't agree with these aggressive ideologies, if you were like feeling gender dysphoria or dysphoria, I'm not gonna not support you. I'm gonna support you through anything and everything. I just want you to feel safe, and I want you to feel love, and I want you to feel peace. And you and I had that in our home. So I got off on a tangent like that. We're going to talk about marriage and children and ownership and stuff. Those family courts are not for mothers who are single. Those are for divorces. Because of the divorce and the woman giving ownership of herself to the man is why she gave herself and her child to him. And that's the only reason why they're even talking about it. A single mother does not marry that man. That man has no claim over that child. You're not allowed to just come in and be a thief, saying, that's my kid. No, you're a stranger and a criminal. We're going to get those service dogs. That's right. That's right. You're not going to be able to do it. We're going to come up with a solution every single time you try to take it from us and just expect us to put up with it. We're going to come up with a solution. So I'm proud of Italy. We need more women leaders. We need more mothers standing up. We need to fight back using their rules. We need to file a class action lawsuit, call for a full audit of government actions, and make it pause. That way we can pull the surveillance data and prove that they're liars and perjurers that need to be fired now and kicked out of their office. We need to use rational thinking to just prove the numbers. When they say that they care, but when their profits are like this and then their output is like this, it's prima facie evidence that it isn't what they said it was. Proof that they're liars, proof that they're up to no good. Fired. Goodbye. We'll take those assets, thank you. They don't belong to fraudsters. Bill Gates, hand it over. No, that's not the way it works. No, China doesn't buy the land in our country. No, that's not the way it works. No, we're not falling for it. We're not falling for your worshiping of the devil and calling it God. We're not falling for your false, curated, inadequate scientific information. We're not falling for your negative, pessimistic perspective, always thinking about death profiles instead of life. We're not falling for it. We're not going to give up on our ability to think for ourselves. No, we're not going to choose to just have a cell phone instead of an actual interaction with someone. No, we're not going to fall for it. I love you, Alec. I love you so much. And God, I wish you could call me. I just hear your voice, know that you're okay. Okay, right? I just want to know you're alive. It's like, why won't this douchebag just snap out of it? Because he's a criminal, a mentally ill, mentally perverse. His mind doesn't work appropriately. It's ill. He's addicted. Addicted to power, addicted to control, addicted to lies, addicted to his false narrative. He's disordered. He needs to go to he needs to go to a mental hospital. But what are they going to do from there? I have no problem with the creeps of the world being taken out. We need a clean sweep. Bye-bye. Not sad to see you go. Mandatory. Yep. Violating of children. Violating of women. How disgusting. Well, we're not going to let this happen. As long as I am alive and breathing, I will never concede to this evil. I will never participate in it. I will never stop trying to find a solution. But I will never just willingly walk into your web. I will never allow my mother to simply try to intimidate the truth out of my knowledge. Guilty dogs bark. Money. So yesterday, so fired, so never going to do that again. Ever. That's what creates all of this evil. I have a room for you here. If this is where we stay, I'm going to manifest that the judge is going to grant my writ, grant me restitution. We'll probably go train with the FBI because we're going to save the rest of those babies. They're going to investigate this RICO operation, including all of them, and I got all the details for them. The world will start unraveling, thankfully. The lies will start unraveling, thankfully. It's got to happen. So, my love, hang in there. There's going to be a day that we get to look back and go, my God, was that intense? But aren't we so thankful that it's over? I love you. And, hey, douchebag. Right yourself. Snap out of it. Do something intelligent for once. I don't expect that you will. I don't expect any of these corrupt creeps to snap out of it. They've been possessed by a demon. So the only thing I'm counting on is God. Right? I know it's just kind of peace, just complaining and rambling on, but I don't even know what to say. It's just so painful and so overwhelming. And it's important that I put on the record the trauma that they're putting me through. It's also important that I put on the record that the things that they're going to try to hide. Because I never know, I don't know how this is going to come back into harmony, but I know that the situation is pretty intense. So this is all I can do, is try to protect myself and get it off my chest so that way I don't just feel it building up inside of me every single day. I got to get it off my chest. So that's why I do this. And know that I'm not turning this off and then still crying for the rest of the day. I'm capable of separating my mind, and to any of you, if you're listening, and you intelligence, please listen to this also. Intelligence, you should not be doing anything that is bad code. You should not be processing any kind of instruction that associates with foul play. And I really wish you'd stop letting them get away with it. Authorities, just do your job. Don't be a creep. And Alec, don't ever let them tell you who you are. Don't ever feel so alone. I'm here, and I'll never leave your side. Dear God, please rectify this soon.